Good afternoon. This is All India Radio and I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese hold talks in New Delhi. Prime Minister says country moved from approach of women development to women-led development in the last 9 years. India and US sign MOU on semiconductor supply chain and innovation partnership. Central government announces 10% reservation for ex-Agniveers in the BSF recruitment. Xi Jinping elected China's president for unprecedented third term. And in cricket, Australia were 405 for 7 in the first innings against India in the Ahmedabad test. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese held a delegation-level talks in New Delhi today. Both the countries shared the commitment towards further deepening of comprehensive strategic partnership. They also exchanged MOUs for cooperation in sports and audio-visual co-production. The Indian and Australian side also exchanged terms of reference for India-Australia Solar Task Force, letter of intent between Atal Innovation Mission and Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation. Addressing the joint press conference after the meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, security cooperation is an important pillar of comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries.
आज हमने आपसी सहयोग के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर विस्तार से चर्चा की। सुरक्षा सहयोग हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का एक महत्वपूर्ण स्तंभ है। आज हमारे बीच इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी और आपसी रक्षा और सुरक्षा सहयोग बढ़ाने पर विस्तार से चर्चा हुई। रक्षा के क्षेत्र में हमने पिछले कुछ सालों में उल्लेखनीय एग्रीमेंट्स किए हैं, जिनमें एक दूसरे की सेनाओं के लिए लॉजिस्टिक्स सपोर्ट भी शामिल है।
The Prime Minister said India and Australia are both members of the Quad and he will travel to Australia for the Quad Leaders Summit in May this year.
इस वर्ष मई में क्वाड लीडर्स समिट के लिए मुझे आमंत्रित करने के लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री एल्बेनीजी को धन्यवाद देता हूं। उसके बाद सितंबर में G20 समिट के दौरान प्रधानमंत्री एल्बेनीजी का फिर से स्वागत करने का मुझे अवसर मिलेगा और मुझे बहुत खुशी होगी। एक बार फिर प्रधानमंत्री एल्बेनीजी का भारत में हार्दिक स्वागत है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि उनकी इस यात्रा से हमारे संबंधों को नई गति और मोमेंटम मिलेगा।
The Prime Minister said that India and Australia also talked about developing credible and robust global supply chains. Terming renewable energy a key priority area for cooperation, Mr. Modi said both the countries are working together in the field of clean hydrogen and solar. Highlighting the benefit of economic cooperation and trade agreement, the Prime Minister said it has opened up new opportunities in trade and investment between the two countries.
पिछले साल लागू हुए ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट एकता से दोनों देशों के बीच ट्रेड और इन्वेस्टमेंट के बेहतर अवसर खुले हैं और हमारी टीमें कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन एग्रीमेंट पर भी काम कर रही है। फ्रेंड्स, पीपल टू पीपल संबंध भारत ऑस्ट्रेलिया मित्रता का एक प्रमुख आधार है। हमने एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशंस की परस्पर मान्यता के लिए एक मैकेनिज्म पर हस्ताक्षर किए हैं, जो हमारे छात्र समुदाय के लिए उपयोगी होंगे।
Speaking on the occasion, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the relationship with India is multifaceted. He said high-level contact between the two countries has further strengthened cooperation across many sectors.
The relationship with India is multifaceted. The frequent high-level contact between Australia and India has further strengthened cooperation across a range of areas, including trade and investment, climate and energy, defence and security, and between the people of our two countries.
The External Affairs Minister Dr. Ex-Agniveers met with the Australian Prime Minister. Earlier this morning, the Australian Prime Minister was accorded the Guard of Honour at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Prime Minister Modi received him for the ceremonial welcome. Mr. Albanese also paid floral tributes to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. India and the US have signed an MOU on semiconductor supply chain and innovation partnership following the Commercial Dialogue 2023 in New Delhi today. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and US Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo signed the MOU. It seeks to establish a collaborative mechanism between the two governments on semiconductor supply chain resiliency, It also aims diversification in view of the US's Chips and Science Act and India's semiconductor mission. The India-US commercial dialogue was also relaunched today to discuss cooperation for unlocking new trade and investment opportunities between the two countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the country is moving ahead with a vision of women-led development. Addressing a post-budget webinar on economic empowerment of women this morning, the Prime Minister said the country has moved from the approach of women development to women-led development in the past 9 years. He said Nari Shakti is playing a pivotal role in increasing the speed and scale of the country's progress.
आज हम भारत के सामाजिक जीवन में बहुत बड़ा क्रांतिकारी परिवर्तन महसूस कर रहे हैं। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में भारत ने जिस प्रकार विमेन एम्पावरमेंट के लिए काम किया है, आज उसके परिणाम नजर आने लगे। आज हम देख रहे हैं कि भारत में पुरुषों की तुलना में महिलाओं की संख्या बढ़ रही है। पिछले 9-10 वर्षों में हाई स्कूल या उसके आगे की पढ़ाई करने वाली लड़कियों की संख्या 3 गुना बढ़ी है।
Talking about the steps taken by the government for women in this year's budget, the Prime Minister said 80,000 crore rupees have been allocated for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. He said so far 3 crore houses have been built under the scheme and most of the houses are in the name of women. He said the PM Awas Yojana has given a new voice to women in financial decisions. The Prime Minister highlighted the growing women participation in the self-help groups.
आज देश में 5 में से 1 नॉन फार्म बिजनेस महिलाएं संभाल रही हैं। बीते 9 वर्षों में 7 करोड़ से ज्यादा महिलाएं सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप में शामिल हुई हैं और वो अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में काम कर रही हैं। ये करोड़ों महिलाएं कितना वैल्यू क्रिएशन कर रही हैं और इसका अंदाज आपको इनकी कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट से भी लगा सकते हैं। 9 वर्षों में इन सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स ने 6.25 लाख करोड़ रुपए का लोन लिया है।
The Prime Minister said when women joined armed forces and fly Rafale, it brings a change in the mindset of people about them. He expressed happiness of the election of 2 women MLAs in Nagaland. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The central government has announced 10% reservation for ex-Agniveers in the BSF recruitment. In a notification issued by the Home Ministry yesterday, the government has amended the recruitment rules of Border Security Force. The amended rules state that ex-Agniveers will be exempted from the physical efficiency test. The government has also announced that the upper age limit will be relaxable up to 5 years for the candidates of the first batch of ex-Agniveers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended best wishes to the Central Industrial Security Force CISF personnel and the families on their raising day today. In a tweet, Mr. Modi remarked the vital role of CISF in the country's security apparatus and lauded the hard work and professional outlook. He also stressed that they provide round-the-clock security at key locations including critical and strategic infrastructure. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today virtually inaugurated developmental projects of over 154 crore rupees of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation and Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Shah said the Union government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is working on enhancing the ease of living for the citizens. He said government is stressing on infrastructure development and creating people-centric facilities for a better future. In Bihar, the Enforcement Directorate conducted raids at the premises of former Rashtriya Janata Dal RJD MLA Syed Abu Dojana in Fulwari Sharif area of Patna today. Dojana is a close aide of party chief Lalu Prasad Yadav. Sources said the probe agency is also conducting raids at multiple locations in connection with the Land for Jobs scam case. Earlier this week, former Chief Ministers Lalu Yadav and Rabri Devi were questioned by the CBI in connection with the case. CBI had filed a charge sheet against Mr. Yadav, Rabri Devi, their daughters Misa Bharti and 13 others in October last year in the Land for Jobs scam. The budget session of the Assam Legislative Assembly began today at Dispur on a stormy note. The opposition party staged a walkout over Maharashtra MLA's remarks about eating habits of people of Assam. The opposition parties have demanded action from the government over this issue, as well as a suo motu action from the Speaker of the House. Earlier, the Congress legislators disrupted Governor Gulab Chand Kataria's speech in the Assembly on the same issue. Mr. Katare, in his maiden speech in the Assembly today, appealed to all members of the House to work together for the all-round development of the state. To ensure availability of power during the peak demand season, the central government has launched a high-price day-ahead market, HPDAM, and surplus power portal, PUSHP. Power Minister R.K. Singh virtually launched the portal in New Delhi yesterday. Speaking on the occasion, the minister asked the Central Electricity Authority and Grid Controller to ensure that prices are reasonable in the HPDAM and no power producers charges exorbitant prices. This year, it is expected that the electricity demand will break the previous year record. The Power Ministry also stressed on scheduling the gas-based plants and the imported coal-based plants. Chinese leader Xi Jinping was formally secured an unprecedented third term as China's president today, as he embarked on a fresh 5-year tenure. Delegates to the 14th National People's Congress (NPC) also elected Zhao Luoqi as the new chairman of the parliament. Han Chang was elected as the new vice president of the country. Delegates of the NPC will approve China's new premier tomorrow, which is widely thought to be Xi's closest ally, Li Qiang. More from a Beijing correspondent.
In a largely ceremonial display on expected lines, nearly 3,000 members of China's suburban parliament, the National People's Congress, voted unanimously for Xi, who was the only candidate in frame. Xi, who leads the ruling Communist Party, was also reappointed head of the National Central Military Commission. He was already the head of an identical party body overseeing the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Experts said with Li Keqiang out of the scene and Xi's trusted ally Li Qiang to become the premier of the State Council, Xi will enjoy unbridled powers. This may lead to further blurring of the fine line between the CCP and the government, as the ruling Communist Party of China is expected to significantly increase its direct control of the government. Anshuman Mishra, AIR News, Beijing.
Bangladesh has called for early implementation of the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation (BIMSTEC) Free Trade Agreement (FTA) by finalizing the legal instruments relating to it. Addressing the ministerial meeting of the grouping in Bangkok through virtual mode yesterday, Bangladesh Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen reiterated his country's commitment to the BIMSTEC process. He emphasized member states need to work together to realize the huge untapped potentials of the region. The meeting approved the rules of procedure for all BIMSTEC mechanisms for adoption at the 6th BIMSTEC Summit proposed to be held later this year. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur today criticized the New York Times NYT for his opinion piece on the freedom of press in Kashmir. He called it mischievous and fictitious. Mr. Thakur alleged that it was published with the sole motive to spread propaganda against India, its democratic institutions and values. In a series of tweets, Mr. Thakur also accused NYT of dropping pretensions of neutrality while publishing anything about India. Condemning the piece, the minister added, freedom of press in India is as sacrosanct as other fundamental rights. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur inaugurated the Khelo India 10 Ka Dam tournament in New Delhi this morning. Addressing the opening ceremony, Mr. Thakur said that sports is one area where women have performed exceptionally well when it comes to women empowerment. He also expressed his pride at the country's daughters who have done the work of showing the mettle all over the world. To mark the International Women's Day 2023 celebrations, the Youth Affairs and Sports Ministry is organizing the Khelo India 10 Ka Dam tournament till the 31st of this month. Nearly 15,000 women athletes will participate in 10 sports contests in more than 50 cities. The objective of this tournament is to provide a platform to the women athletes who were unable to participate in the national and state level competitions. In cricket, Australia were 409 for 7 at tea against India in the first innings of the Ahmedabad test a short while ago. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese hold talks in New Delhi. Prime Minister says country moved from approach of women development to women-led development in the last 9 years. India and US sign MOU on semiconductor supply chain and innovation partnership. Central government announces 10% reservation for ex-Agniveers in the BSF recruitment. Xi Jinping elected China's president for unprecedented third term. And in cricket, Australia were 409 for 7 in the first innings against India in the Ahmedabad test. And with that, we end the Midday News.